We on?
How to become older with class.
Okay.
So welcome to this seminar on the 109 Jade Emperor platform. What we're doing is modernizing and combining ancient Chinese philosophies into the latest technology in your iPhones and your iPads for multicultural and everyday use. These philosophies come from thousands of years of study and practice. Thousands of years of study and practice in China through the theories of Bazi, the 5 elements, yin and yang, ziwei do shu, and the sexagenary cycle. Our main goal at WMH 109 is to combine all these studies into a calendar that can be taken with us, like a watch or a clock, so we can measure the innate energy that we have and match it with the innate energy of other people, the innate energy of our environment, and the innate energy of the time period of that day. Today, the concepts I just mentioned are not seen here in the West very often, except maybe karate, tai chi, kung fu, yoga, karate, things like that. Other Eastern-based philosophical practices. But Eastern cultures have these studies ingrained in their way of life. Most Asian parents name their child after the element that's most representative of their birth date. For example, Kim means metal, and so you hear that predominantly in Asian cultures. However, after being handed down generation after generation, the original meanings have lost their luster through language changes and language simplification. By reapplying the original colors through the 5 elements, 109 Jade Emperor has brought these ancient definitions back to light and made it easier for people from all cultures to utilize this system to their benefit. In the West, when we think about using our birthday to gather information about ourselves, we might think about astrology. However, the alignment of the universe at the time and place of our birth captures a certain energy, and that's unique only to us. It creates a basis for personality and character that we use and take with us as we grow and develop. The unique aspect of 109 Jade Emperor is the correlation of our birth times to the ancient place where the mapping out of the energy in the universe was first recorded. So when we enter our birth information, the snapshot of the energy from that location is recorded and taken as if it was in Beijing, China. Therefore, the authenticity about our innate structure is unquestioned. Let's take a look at the website together. Some of you may have brought your phones or your iPads, and so if you want to sign up, it's 109 Jade Emperor or 109je.com for short. You'll need to sign up for a new account, which is real easy and it's free. We won't be sending you any spam or junk mail or any marketing mail in that respect. There's a button at the bottom of the page for all kinds of different languages as well. The signing up is very easy. You enter your you enter your name, email, password, and the most important thing is your location and time of birth. This search map function here, this search map button, will help you better identify your place of birth. When you hit that search map button, a window will come up where an accurate assessment of your birth longitude is obtained. So pay attention to whether or not daylight savings time was observed at the time and place of your birth as well, because not all countries practice daylight savings time, so it's important that you get that right. The idea is the authenticity of your birth information that makes your innate structure come out right in our apps. You'll receive a verification email, and so when you get that verification email, click on the link that's provided, and that'll send you back to the site so you can sign up. It verifies whether or not you're a real person. So this is the home page of the 109 Jade Emperor website. When you sign up, this is what you're going to be looking at. Are any of you signed up for it, or are you working at it right now, or I'll just go on ahead. This page combines our birth information and therefore our innate energy and identifies on the calendar and on the clock which years, months, days, and time periods during the day are best suited for us. Matching our personal energy with others, as well as the energy in our workplace and home, is the key to establishing positive energy flow in our lives. In order to identify our unique energy, we use the theory of the 5 elements and apply it to our body source code, or our Bazi, which are components that mark our birthplace and time. These are them right here. Your birth, when you sign in, this birth information is at the top left-hand part of the page. But before we investigate your body source code any further, let me talk to you a little bit about the 5 elements and yin and yang. The influence of the 5 elements philosophy is felt in feng shui, Chinese astrology, acupuncture, and Chinese medicine. Foods, objects, behaviors, and emotions are all categorized within the 5 elements. They're taken both literally and metaphorically. Naturally, if it's made of this substance, there's a correlation. However, since we categorize everything in existence as one of the 5 elements, it's not necessary for an object to be physically comprised of these materials. The representations of these elements range from personality characteristics, to attitudes, to behaviors, to colors, shapes, and materials. And knowing the symbolism of each of the elements and how they interact, we can modify the objects around us to change the flow of energy to our benefit. We can manage our personality and those of others through the knowledge of these combinations. So the 5 elements can both help and hinder each other. The creative cycle shows how they help each other. Earth forges out metal in terms of like minerals and rocks. Metal, when it's heated or cooled, creates water. Water feeds wood. Wood feeds fire. And fire burns things down to earth. The destructive cycle shows how they kind of check each other or hinder each other. Earth dams up water. Water puts out fire. Fire melts metal. Metal breaks wood. And wood jams through to earth. So we can see how we manipulate the 5 elements in our environment to kind of take away elements or to add elements. Okay, hold on a second. All right. Before we get to yin and yang, let's say if you can't withdraw elements or add elements to your environment, at least you know why you might feel a certain way because you're lacking a certain element. Let's say if I'm lacking the earth element, which adds stability to my environment, to my attitude, I might feel like a lot of nervousness or anxiety. That means I don't have enough stability in my life. I need to add more earth to my environment to achieve that stability. Yin and yang comes from an ancient Chinese philosophy as well and is rooted in Chinese culture. It's about the duality of the universe, the polar opposites. Without yin, there can be no yang, and without yang, there can be no yin. This is the concept that nothing exists on its own, but is only whole with an opposite reflection. So, in Chinese philosophy, yin things are kind of like this: soft, passive, yielding, slow, the night, the moon, femininity, and even numbers. Yang things are hard, aggressive, focused, fast, daytime, the sun, masculinity, and odd numbers. So here's our 5 element correlation when you add the yin and yang polarity to each. You have 10 total elements. The yang elements are 5, 9, 1, 3, and 7 for those particular elements. The yin elements are as follows: half circle for yin and a full circle for yang. If you look at your handouts, you can see some of the correlations that the 5 elements represent. You'll see colors, you'll see shapes, you'll see personality characteristics, you'll see locations. They all have to do with the 5 elements. And if you turn the page, you'll also see there are connections of each of the 5 elements. Earth connections, metal connections, and so on. And that describes what those connections are like when they're 2 of the same elements, opposite polarity, meeting each other. And then on the 3rd page, you'll see even like our bodies are correlated to the 5 elements. Certain organs and bodily functions correlate to the 5 elements. And if there's an imbalance of one of the 5 elements, you can tell by the way your body's reacting. For example, the metal element has to do with the respiratory system. So if you've got a person who's coughy and sneezy and runny nose a lot, they may lack metal or they may have too much metal. They've got a metal imbalance. And so you can kind of tell what they need to add to their environment to get rid of that imbalance or that symptom. Okay. So now let's look how these elements define the timing in our environment. I talked a little bit about their representations. let's discuss how the elements represent the timing. The Chinese sexagenary cycle is an ancient timekeeping method that combines the also ancient heavenly stems and earthly branches into components of time. These components total 60 in number and can be used to measure all time frames from minutes to years. 109 Jade Emperor has overlaid this cycle into a calendar that we can use to apply to any time period, past, present, and future, and see how our energy measures up. So our study doesn't foretell the future, but instead identifies future energy based on the calendar and the clock. And therefore we can make choices accordingly, like take action when the energy fits our energy, or lay low when the energy doesn't really fit our energy. This is what the heavenly stems and earthly branches look like. There are 10 heavenly stems and 12 earthly branches. So for many of you, and like me, when I look at this initially, the Chinese scares me and the pinyin scares me because I don't know the English either. And so what 109 Jade Emperor has done is try to make things easier. So this is our heavenly stem and earthly branch representation. Stems were used to measure days or weeks. That's why there's 10. The branches represent the 12 months of the year, the 12 increments of the clock, or any 12 increment combination. These are the Chinese zodiac animals underneath. So you notice rat, ox, and so on. Just to make a point, this 5-element correlation that we've given these components here is not like a willy-nilly association. These elements have historically been tied into these components forever. So it's not a new thing. We're just bringing these elements out and making them more pronounced in describing the characteristics of each item, because it's a little more easy than the language. The 10 stems begin with 3 because yang wood represents spring and February. It's based on the solar calendar. The 12 branches begin with 1, which is the month of Rat, and it's the first month of the Chinese zodiac. And it's kind of represents the 11 to 1 time frame, so it represents the month of December, right? The month before the year turns. And it's based on the lunar calendar. The stem's energy is innate. It's there all the time. You can't deny it. The branch's energy is there, but you have to find it. You have to use your own timing to kind of locate it. Find the timing of that branch to locate it for that day. Because there's a 2-digit differential, even numbers and odd numbers always stay together. They never cross over. So you'll always have, for that day, odd numbers or even numbers. 3-1, then 8-0, then 7-3. All right? Whoop. This is your Chinese sexagenary cycle. This is your 60-component cycle here. It starts with 1924 and 60 years later, 1984. So that's the beginning of the cycle. The beginning of the cycle started in 1984. All right? And the first 2 components are called jatsu, or yang wood rat. All right? But it's kind of hard to understand, and with the language and stuff makes it difficult. So for us to share it with all kinds of different cultures, we just use a number, representation, and color. So there's your yang wood and there's your rat, the first component. All right, and then it goes to the next, and so on. So there's a branch and a stem for each day, or each time period. The 10 stems repeat 6 times, because there's 10 of them. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the branches rotate 5 times. There's 12. There's another 12, another 12, and so on. 5 rotations of the branches. These components mark every 2-hour time period during the day, and every month, and every year. So now let's talk about how we use the elements to describe what we're made of. Let's go back to the 109 Jade Emperor homepage and talk about how we use the elements to describe us. That was the time. Those are the time periods. Okay, so we're back to the web page now.
That's something.
Yeah.
That's the home page on your computer. The home page on
the mobile.
The mobile's a little different. It doesn't give you the full picture like that, but it gives you all the same information.
But it has all the components in a very simpler form.
That's right.
Okay.
So when you enter all your birth information, this page comes up. My picture's already here. You can put your own picture there when you get a chance. But it'll be blank. And then, this is my body source code here. When I entered my birth information, it's going to spit out your body source code here in this, on this front page. So let me talk a little bit about our body source code. Here's an example of a body source code, which is the elemental makeup that we have at birth and is the foundation of our growth as we age in life. These innate components represent a heavenly stem and earthly branch for each year, month, day, and hour of birth. All right, the stems are on the left, branches are on the right. Together they combine to symbolize a unique structure based on each person's time and place of birth. A lot of insight can be gathered from studying our body source code through the 5 elements. It is from this base structure that we attempt to match with other people and their elements and the elemental symbolism in spaces, directions, and decor of all kinds. This is a different person's body source code, just to keep you guys on your toes. This guy's got only earth, wood, and metal. He's not as varied as that other body source code. The most important component of these 8 is your day stem. It's called your personal element. All right, and this guy is, or this girl is 9, or yang metal. Yang metal people are forthright and decisive. They work well under pressure, but they can be over-competitive and rash sometimes, like a welder. Yin metal people are creative, imaginative, perfectionist types, persuasive, but they have low tolerance for risk. They won't reach out and try stuff because if they fail, they're not very good at dealing with failure. They're kind of like aluminum. Our soul's characteristics are combined in the year branch, which is the Chinese zodiac animal for our body source code here. In this case, ox or yin earth. Yin earth people are nurturing, considerate, helpful, innovative, resourceful, but they deal with rejection poorly. Kind of like a little dust and the wind blows and they get blown away. Yang earth people are steady, solid, reliable, honest, trustworthy, but they can be stubborn and inflexible like a big mountain. You know, you can't move them. Let's talk about the other guys while we're here. Yin fire people are gentle, calm, considerate, detailed, meticulous, very prideful in their work. But they can be unstable and unreliable sometimes, kind of like a candle. Yang fire people are generous, sincere, warm, and polite. Open, cheerful, and passionate, but they may become bored easily. When everyone's not paying attention to them, they say, hey, what's going on? This is boring.
Or burn the wrong things.
Yeah.
Yin wood people, gentle, compassionate, adaptable, efficient, problem solvers. But they can be fickle or lack commitment, kind of like a little weed. Yang wood people are direct, stern, forthright, fair and supportive and compassionate. They're firm and they avoid major movement or change. They're big trees. They protect people, but you can't move them or take them. If they get moved or they're laying down, then they're out of their element, so to speak. Yin water people are resourceful, thoughtful, nurturing, active, intellectual, complex, but they're easily distracted, kind of like a leak. Yang water people are carefree, adaptable, diplomatic, visionary. They see the big picture, but they're rebellious and they dislike conformity, kind of like the ocean. Big body of water. Our elemental energies. What this does is this aspect of the website just takes out the yin and yang aspects of the 5 elements and categorizes our structure into percentages so we can kind of see what we have in abundance and what we're lacking. Too much of an element would be considered 30% or above. Too little of an element would be like 10% or below. Okay, so it's easy to see what this person needs to add. They need to add wood and they need to remove earth from their environment. To add wood, you would add greens, you would add columnar things, like round columnar things, and sour foods, vegetables, things like that. If you wanted to remove earth, you would cut out browns and yellows, squared off things, or right angles, or sweet foods, and dirt from your environment. So to try and make our connections more visual, 109 Jade Emperor has created a plug-in system. The polarity of the elements yin and yang are represented by plugs and outlets. Yang a plug and yin an outlet. 2 of the same elements with the opposite polarity symbolize a perfect match. And so as we've learned, the elements have special relationships with one another. If you plug them into each other, the electricity will flow. This is called making a connection. Our website allows us to check our connectivity with friends, family, colleagues, or even strangers. And then our feng shui applications allow us to check our energy with clothing and environments in our home and our workplace. So this plugin system you'll be able to access on the 109 Jade Emperor site as well. It compares the body source codes of all registered users so we can develop a knowledge of our energy and the energy of others. Here you can sort your friends list by name, destiny number, or the different connections that you may have with people. So our life plays out in 3 stages. 0 to 30, which is the earth stage, 30 to 60, which is the human stage, and 60 and above, which is the heaven stage. The connected energy between 2 people is reflected by the colors over here in this column on the left. Okay? They represent all the perfect match connections, which are opposite polarities of the same element. So let me talk a little bit about the 5 different types of connections. Benny. Okay, perfect match connections we talked about already. Same element, opposite polarity, that's perfect. So if you meet, I'm Yang Wood, so if I meet a Yin Wood person, that's the person that's probably going to be a good match for me. All right, same element, but opposite polarity. These are considered ideal partners, and almost as if they were meant to be or destined to be. Opposite elements, such as water and earth, or metal and wood, would seem to be in conflict. However, their meeting is inevitable and unavoidable, as their opposite properties are sometimes needed by each other. Opposite attraction connections are often marked by feelings of love and hate. So you're very much opposite, but sometimes you need a little bit what that other person has. Other times you just can't stand them and just stay away from me, but sometimes you need a little bit of that. So you get a lot of the love and hate situation there. Like-minded connections are when people or environments are made up of the same element and same polarities. Their similarities might create an imbalance because they're both the same. But their related properties create mutual interests or needs because they're the same people, so they like the same thing. So it could lead to a beneficial relationship. A go-with-the-flow connection occurs if there's no particular elemental match or conflict between people or environments. In this case, there will be a natural flow of energy that will maintain itself without human effect. So don't rebel, just go with the flow of the situation. And a no connection situation, there are no elements in common. So they're like 2 parallel lines that never meet. They continue to operate and they'll never run into each other. They work alone. So we can use this plug-in system for free on the 109 Jade Emperor website. We can plug in our energy with that of others, which can be important when analyzing how people work together in family or in the workplace. Using the creative and destructive cycles, we can see how different energies and therefore personalities interact and connect. A user has to enter their birth information to get into the profile history and then request a friend to build a friends list like we built right here. On the screen is a comparison between myself and Martina Wong, who lives in Markham, Canada. In our heaven path, which is from ages 0 to 30, Martina and I have 4 connections. And you can see in our heaven path that this is symbolized by an earth connection and 3 fire connections, because I have a earth outlet, she has an earth plug, so we connect there. I've got 3 plugs here and she's got 3 outlets, so we got 3 fire connections there. Okay, and all that is spit out on the website.
She's a single. There we go.
So all this is spit out on the website, and if you want to compare with this with friends, you can. Earth stands for stability, reliability, security, and trust. Fire stands for generosity, fame, sincerity, and action. There's lots of ways, and the elements mean lots of different things. So our 4, anyway, you can see the 4 connections. Another thing, as we grow and go from one stage to the next, we gain plugs, because as we gain experience, we gain plugs and outlets to share with people. Not mine that time. So normally, what you would see is a kind of a connection that I have with Marianne here. You'd go from having less plugs to more, which is kind of weird with Martina and I, because we have no things in common in our 60 and over years. All right, so more than likely when you add experiences, you gain more connections with people. But that's all reflected here in the left part of this website, which is kind of cool. So just like connecting with people, we have these same connections with our environment. So once certain directions and orientations are given elemental properties, we can combine ourselves with the elements in our environment. So let's look at that real fast. We have developed the cardinal direction map, which orientates the 5 elements to directions or locations within a building. Southwest, center, and northeast be considered earth. West and northwest, metal. North is water. East and southeast is wood, and the south is fire. And so, based on the innate makeup of our body source code, we can match our surroundings to fit ourselves. For example, I have a yang wood personality. So, ideally, my bed, my desk, the direction that I should face most of the time during the day should be southeast and east because it represents the wood element, and I'm yang wood. So that would fit my energy. However, as we've learned, water feeds wood. So if I was facing north, or my desk or my office was in a northern part of a building, that would be great too, because I would be feeding myself water all day, and that'd be great for my wood personality. You know what I mean? Also, I'm a tree. I'm yang wood, so I need earth to root out in. So the earth areas would be probably pretty good too for me to be in terms of where I'd like to be in my home or in my workplace. Can anyone tell me where would be a bad place as a yang wood guy?
Fire.
Yeah, in the south, it had a south-facing house, because your front door determines the direction your home faces. So if my front door of my home is facing south and I'm a yang wood, I may feel funny in there and I may not know why. Same thing with my office. If it's located in the southern part of a building, I may not feel like I'm burning, but the energy may not feel right. You know what I mean? I might be unstable in some way. So that's a way to look at how to match your energy with the energy that's in your environment, because that's very important. Okay, so we match our innate energy with our environment, and so now the 109 Jade Emperor website displays the sexagenary cycle every day, which identifies the type of energy that exists for that day. It also takes the user's birth information and displays the auspicious time period. So once I enter my birth information and the calendar spit out, it spits out what the day is. So let's say it was the 20th. This was last week. So it's a 7-7 day. And so you know your innate and your timing are both 7s for that day. And then it'll take my innate structure and give me the time periods that are beneficial for me that day. Now, you could consider it lucky if you want, or you consider it the type of situation where if I'm going to get a workout, I'm going to maximize my workout on the days that are best fit my energy, or on times that best fit my energy. So working out at 5 would not be as good as working out at 9 for me, because actually this is not me, so this is a bad deal. It'll match the next one. Hold on. Anyway, someone else, their auspicious times will come out down here too in your 2-hour time periods during that day, as well as the days that are good for you during that month.
And your auspicious time periods are the ones that are marked on the bottom of the red, the light.
Yeah, so they're kind of lit up, right?
And those colors are based on the elements
that you are.
Right.
Right. And so it's kind of taking the
colors are based on what that hour element is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's based on what that hour element is, but it fits your structure well. That's why it's lit up.
Telling you that 9 to 11 is that fire?
Yes.
Is a good time. That fire time is good for you on that day because it's a 7 fire day.
So body source. Look at my body source code again. I'm yang wood, okay, and number 3. So remember, opposite polarity, same element is the best. So here's yesterday. I want to get to this. So I'm yang wood 3. So my direct opposite is yin wood 8. And so this is a great day for me because the innate energy fits me and the timing energy for that day fits me. So what has lit up here is my yang wood time, which is 3 to 5. So that's a good time for me to plant a plant, start a project, work out, start dinner, or schedule a meeting, you know, meet with an important person, you know, something like that. Then the yin wood time is even better because that's my opposite from 5 to 7. Then the 2 earth times are lit up because I'm yang wood and I need earth, so that's good for me too. And then one of the water times is lit up too because water feeds wood, so that's good for me as well. So you'll end up with 3 or 4 or 5 different good combinations for you during the day. And it's a matter of making sure that the energy fits you right, and then go ahead and take on those projects or those extra things or meetings that you want to schedule or important things that you wanted to do. or take on, because you're going to maximize your energy and your effort during that time period. You know what I mean? Because it fits your energy. All right.
Can you look ahead on the calendar?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the best.
The whole idea is that you can identify the energy in your future, and so you like on, for example, we're going to schedule a couple more seminars, right? And so Evan went through to look and see when would be a good day for me to deliver one of these. Is good, and so your communication skills might not be as good. There could be a lot of things that come into play. So in general, matching our innate energy to the innate aspects of other energy in our lives is the key. We can manipulate the 5 elements through color, shapes, materials, and directions to enhance the energy flow in our environment in home and living, fashion and style, health and wellness, planning and timing, and self-exploration. In terms of home and living, we can design our home or office with the elements in mind that fit our energy using our Color and Living app, which shows the 9-sector grid. This is an example of it. We can take measurements of the elements in our surroundings, and then we can match our energy with the energy in our work and home environments. We can customize our wardrobe to balance our elements. Through one of our fashion and style apps, we can use colors, shapes, and materials that fit our innate energy. Purchasing dates are important too. We can dress to match the energy for that day based on the calendar. We can use the Health Indicator app to maintain our health and prevent illnesses by knowing our predisposition to certain illnesses based on our elemental makeup. We can discover the relationship between elements and our organs and bodily functions. And we can master the flow of the elements based on the sexagenary cycles flow through time. By planning and timing and a mastery of the elements, we can make decisions and choices that enhance control over our lives. And we can seek the most beneficial dates and times for special occasions. Then, by using Zeus Sensor, which is a translated Ziwei Doshu life chart, we can discover deep secrets about our lives, realize hidden potential, understand the past, and plan for the future. Zeus Sensor reveals the timing for relationships, health, career, property, and major turning points in our life. All the ancient knowledge of Ziwei Doshu, which is ancient Chinese astrology, is fully translated into English and is cross-referenced with figures from Greek mythology for better understanding in Western audiences. So, to your question about the future, the life chart can kind of identify these energies based on your ages. These are ages here. And so the particular ages will fall in a particular chamber. You can see like what the energy is going to be like in that part of your life in that time period in your life. And it's not like predicting the future. You can see, ooh, looks like there's going to be a major change of some kind here because of the stars that are in there. You know, and so it's not like predicting the future, but it's kind of predicting the energy that's in your future. And you can see it in your past as well through our apps. And so in review, today's modern technology allows us to use simple numbers and colors to apply the ancient principles, these ancient principles, into our lives. Through an analysis of the 5 elements, we can match the innate energy of our body source code with the innate energy of others, with the innate energy in our environment, and the innate energy of the clock or calendar that's continually rotating. And that energy is identifiable. That's the sexagenary cycle identifies it for us. And so we can see what our energy is going to be, what the energy is going to be like in the future, and we can match our energy to it accordingly. And so if you've got your apps, your phones, or your iPads here, and you want to sign up, there's a number of people here that can help you sign up and kind of explain how the apps work. And if you got any questions or something, I'll answer questions that you may have as well. But that was kind of all I want to present today, and I want to keep it kind of short, but we'll be doing some more stuff that make it even more fine, you know what I mean?
On the phone app, is there the partner one too? You can look up your friends, or is that just, okay, nice.
Yeah.
Find out when your kids go into college.
So you sign up, you got to go to your,
They have to be on there too.
you got to sign up, go to your email, and then invite friends. You got to request friends to join up on yours. list.
Put it out.
You're in the family thing.
For, I think